Hey guys, welcome to the 2022 barbecue season opener of Boomer Barbecue. It's May 29th, Sunday. 1 week ago was the 1 year anniversary of my YouTube channel. May 13th was the anniversary of the day I received my brand new smoker, so I've had it for over a year. And I've got 114 subscribers, so I'm going to be celebrating a lot of things in this video. Unfortunately, I made this video 1 week ago. It was an experiment. I got a new cam. It was an Hickory Go cam. I thought it would be better. It sat on a headband on my forehead. I thought I would get a better perspective and whatnot. So as I was recording, I had a lot of technical problems. Some of the videos didn't come out complete. Then when I was trying to download them to my phone, that was a nightmare. It was taking forever. When I finally got them all downloaded and I tried to edit them, they won't work in my editor. So, we're doing this over again today. Unfortunately, I lost my footage for the briskets I did last week, but I do have pictures I will show you at the end. The results came out pretty good. We'll discuss that later. So without further ado, let's get this ball rolling. Okay, so as I said, I bought myself an Hickory Go cam. I was trying to change up my my method of filming because the last method I have, which I'm using right now at the moment, I have a camera holder that sits around my shoulders, basically sits in front of me. I can see what I'm filming, and also have hands free. So the problem is every time I reach for something like this, the camera goes wherever I'm reaching, and I don't want to make people seasick. So the Hickory Go cam would have been on my forehead with a head strap, and basically wherever I would have been looking would have been where I was filming. All in theory, it was a great idea, but I didn't realize the problems I was going to have. Sometime the camera cut off without me knowing. I didn't hear it, so I lost some footage. Some of the footage got corrupted, and I wasn't aware until everything was done. It was a nightmare trying to get the videos off the cam. It literally took over an hour to download a 9-minute video from the cam onto my phone, and I was doing it through Wi-Fi. So you either have a computer, and you need a special card reader to get it on your computer, which I don't have either. You use your Wi-Fi and you connect to the cam and you download it, and it just took forever. So when I finally got all that done, I said, okay, let's edit. So I started to try to edit, and nothing worked in the editor. Wouldn't run. I couldn't preview it. I couldn't do anything. It was just a nightmare. So I'm faced with having to do this over again. I lost a lot of footage. I had really great footage of, my two briskets. They came out really good. I did the foil boat method. I was lucky enough to happen upon two great briskets at Costco Business Center. I went with choice. I found one that was marked down in price because within a week it was going to be, past the sale due date. So it was literally a week away, so they dropped it down to I think $1.49 a pound. So it was a 10-pound brisket I got for 15 bucks, a little over 10 pounds. And then I figured I saved so much money, let me see if I can find another one without breaking the bank. And I found a nice little 8-pounder, and that was $30. So between the two of them, I had, for $45, I had 18 pounds worth of brisket. So, and plus I was looking at the fact that I'm going to be doing two briskets for the first time at the same time since I've started smoking. So these were a bunch of things I was looking forward to. Everything came out really great. I also did an experiment with my wood because normally I just use the kiln dried wood that I get. I get 7-Eleven. They have bags of it, and it's easy for me to get. It's I don't have to drop a whole lot of cash like I would if I had to get a half a cord. Eventually I'm going to do that, but So the only problem with the kiln dried is, of course, you deal with the dry wood, you're not going to get as much smoke flavor, and that's been a plague for me. So I did an experiment. I'll get into that later and let you know how that came out. But first, I'm going to tell you about how I'm switching up my game this year for smoking. So over here, you can see is my charcoal tray. That was inside the smoker. I used it to regulate the temperatures on both sides of the grill. So I made a decision that after watching quite a few videos and doing a lot of research, I found that that was an overrated ideal, because you really should worry more about airflow. The airflow going in, the draw. You want a really good draw. You want to get that convection effect with the draw, and I'll show you how I did that, and I'll tell you about how things went out during that smoke. So let's get the cover off the grill. Okay, here she is in all her glory, my Char-Griller Grand Champ XD series. She sat the winter out. I had a heavy duty cover on her, as you saw, and she held up very nicely. You can't really see any problems. There's no rust that she had through the winter. I have a tarp cover. Let me just show you real quick. I keep it covered above, and I had a cover on, so I'm really trying to protect my smoker. I really want it to last a long time. The only thing I did have was a little bit of rust on this firebox. Now you can't see it now because I did do a smoke last week, as I said, and I had a spray bottle with a little bit of peanut oil in it, and I sprayed a fine covering over as I was cooking, and it did really good. It sealed up any of the rust. You really can't see anything on it. You can see a little, if you notice the drippings from the oil covering on there. So it's protecting it. You can't see any rust on it. It almost looks brand new. It held up great. Even the wheels, I was gonna replace the wheels with the rubber ones, but they're fine too. There's no rust on those. Everything's holding up really well. Solid as a rock, so I can't be happier. Now let me show you how I'm changing up my game. Let's start off by opening her up. Whoops. Okay. So, let's see if I can get that to stay. I will just leave it like this so you can see it. Alright, so there we have a 24-inch by 5 piece of ductwork. I'm extending the stack to get better draw, so I have the better convection effect going through, and let me tell you, it worked phenomenal. It was amazing how well it worked. Let me show you what I had to do. I just had to adjust this piece a little bit on the back here. I did a little cut with my angle grinder, so because there's a on the smokestack, better view here. Oops. On the smokestack is the screw here. So when you take this piece off, I'll show you here. The screw's still there. You can't get rid of it. So I had to make a little cut to adjust for that. Let me put the stack on and show you how it looks. Okay, so as you can see, I've extended the stack 24 inches. Don't mind the tarp up there. I had a pole up there to keep it away. It did take some smoke on it when I was cooking, but I did keep it away so it wasn't dangerous to it. But that increased the amount of draw going through. It was amazing how much convection was coming out. You put your hand over the stack, it felt like there was literally was a fan pushing air through. It was amazing. And one of the things that I wish I could prove it to you, because I had it on video, but even without the charcoal tray inside the grill, I was getting even temperatures on both sides of the door. So both my thermometers were reading exactly the same on each side. I was really amazed. I wasn't expecting it, because when I first put these thermometers on and I cooked with it, the right side was way hotter than the left side. I'm pretty much convinced that it's because of the convection and the draft and the draw coming through that made it, made the heat not linger on the one side and just kept pulling it through rather quickly. So You'll have to take my word for it. If you have one of these, and I know a couple of my viewers do, I would suggest you go to Home Depot, get yourself a 5" by 24" piece of ductwork. Cut out the little piece in the back like I did so you can put in the screw. There was no smoke loss or heat loss. None of it came out by the hole, so that worked out really well. You're going to see an amazing difference. You will not need the charcoal tray. You can yank that out of there. I have never used the baffle. I started using it, I think the first couple of cooks. I didn't like it, so I pulled it out. So now it's just wide open from the firebox through the cooker, out the chimney, and I just got amazing results from it. So I'm just really happy with that. And of course I learned that from Jeremy, watching him. He took the baffle plate off his Brazos and then extended also his stack with a piece of ductwork as well. Bunch of motorcyclists. It's always the case when you're doing a video, guys. There's always going to be somebody riding around on something loud. But I'm a one-take guy, so we'll just keep it in. Anyhow, so I think you can tell she did really good for her first year. I think it's indisputable that this puppy is going to last me a long time as long as I take good care of it. No problems. I had a really great cook with it last week. So let's move on to the experiment. Okay, and then after the experiment, tomorrow is Memorial Day. We're going to be doing a cook. I'm going to be doing some spare ribs. I'm going to be doing a pork loin roast, some turkey legs. We're going to do a couple of different things up there. So let's move on to the next section and tell you how I did my fire management. Okay, here's my wood pile. What the experiment consisted of was, like I said, I had about 3 bags worth of kiln dried wood. It's an assortment, but it's good for cooking. I really don't know what's in it. It's just hardwood, and it says on the bag it's good for cooking. So it's the best that I can do for now until I can get myself, a good cord of decent oak or something. So the thing that plagued me was using the dry wood. You don't get a lot of smoke flavor. So it's, you get the great heat and all of that, but the smoke flavor just was not showing up. And I had, if you can see this little bag right there, I'm using it as a garbage bag right now, but I bought 3 bags of these hickory mini logs. They're about 1.5 cubic feet. I bought 3 of those bags. I got them for a decent price. I got them for $16, and that's not what they were supposed to be, because now they're like $50-something a bag. I think they made a mistake, and I made out like a bandit. I got 3 bags of that, and when I had the hickory, that worked great because it's not kiln dried. But once that ran out, I had to go with what I could get. So I decided. I had asked one of my favorite gurus, Jeremy Yoder of Mad Scientist Barbecue. I said, I have this kiln dried wood, and I'm just wondering how, is there anything that I can do to, get better smoke flavor? Can I like rehydrate it or something? And he had said to me, well, you might want to make it bigger chunks so it'll burn a little dirty and so forth and so on. And I wasn't really satisfied with that answer. So, because you don't want the dirty smoke so much. I mean, I don't really mind the flavor of heavy smoke myself, but you try to avoid the dirty smoke, and I think as a control point, it's just really hard. And then if I'm using bigger logs, I'm going to get more heat, so that's not what I wanted either. So I decided, I participate in his Patreon page, and he has a couple of contests from time to time, and the last contest we had was everybody was submitting ideas for a video. Now, I'd already mentioned to him, I said, it would be a great idea to do some kind of a fire management video with, controlling the, see what you could do with kiln dried wood. And he says, yeah, that would be a great idea. So I figured out, I would do all right with it. He already liked the idea, but I tried to, pitch it out as a scientific experiment because he is the Mad Scientist Barbecue. So, unfortunately, I didn't even get a mention in the contest. Maybe I'm a little salty, but I said, if he doesn't take my idea, I'll do it myself. So that's what I did. So unfortunately, like I said, a lot of the control footage is gone. I did all this before. What I did was there was a pile to the right. I had 3 different piles of wood. One pile was sitting and it was out in the rain on its own for maybe a week. As you can see, I cut all my pieces of wood. I split them and I cut them in usable pieces first. And then I left some out in the rain. Another pile I hosed down for 3 days. And then this last pile to the left, I put in a bucket of water. It wasn't as big as the rest because I put whatever I could fit in the bucket in there, and I soaked it for 3 days. So what I did was, after the 3 days were done, I came out and I was testing the wood. So what I did was I purchased myself a moisture meter. This one right here, it's a mini moisture meter, and it tests the moisture in the wood. Sorry, I had that upside down. Got it from Harbor Freight. It was only $13. It's a tiny little cute thing. You pop it open. It's got these prongs that go into the wood, and it'll tell you how much moisture is in. Now, one of the things I found out was that it'll only go up to 60%. So anything that's over 60% moisture is going to show up as OL, probably meaning over the limit of the meter. So we had a really good rain yesterday, so I'm guessing these are still pretty good and moist. So I don't have a control piece, unfortunately. I had 2 control pieces, as you would have like in any scientific experiment, and I probed those. They came out to about 6 and 8%, which is the normal for kiln dried wood. As I said, I can't prove it to you now, unfortunately, but what I am going to show you is how much moisture is in the wood right here in front of me. So just to show you, some people believe that you can't rehydrate kiln dried wood. So let's grab a couple of pieces of this pile here. They're pretty much all the same now because they've been out in the rain. They've been out in the sun all day too, but okay, so let's start it up. All right, so we're just going to pop this into the wood here. See if we can see the reading. All right, so you can see I'm getting 40% reading. It's up and down, 40, 2, 4. Let's try another side. That says 16. Let's try it at the end. That's 40, 42, 50. Okay, let's end over here. 20. Another side. 40 something. Let's try another piece. We'll try a piece from the left side. This is the wood I had soaked in the bucket. There might still be, as you can see, it still has a little brown. Still looks pretty moist. Let's hit this side because this is probably going to show you the over limit right there. So I touch it a little bit. Yeah, see how it says OL? So that's more than 60% there. Let me see if I can get it close before really sticking it in. So here's just touching it. It's showing 32. As I stick it in, it goes up 50. Let's see if we get 50, 52. Yeah, 60 is about as high as it goes. So to make a long story short, as you can see, the wood is still holding on to water. So the thing is, when you get regular wood that's been just cut down, it's going to have the moisture. It's called bound water. Okay, so I found this off a forestry blog, where people that have some experience know about this topic. So I had asked on YouTube, can you rehydrate kiln dried wood? So they said what happens with wood is when it's out in the open, it's going to try to equalize with the atmosphere around it. It's going to, if you live in a high humidity area, the wood is going to soak in the wood, try to equalize itself with the atmosphere around it. So normally, if you have fresh wood and you're trying to season it, it takes a lot longer. It could take up to, I think, up to 2 years, they said, to remove all the water to get it to a place where you're fully seasoned. And that's called bound water. So the water I introduced to the wood is called free water. So it's dry, it's going to suck it up, much like if you take dry rice and you throw it in and you have something that's wet and you put it in the same bag, literally the rice will suck the water out of that device because it wants to equalize with the atmosphere around it. So it's doing the same thing. But I I did the extreme. I left it out in the rain. I hosed down a pile for 3 weeks, and then I soaked the one pile in the water. So the thing about rehydrated free water in the wood is, if I took all this wood and put it in the garage where it's dry and it's hot, in about 2 weeks it'll go back to where it was. So that free water is going to come out really quickly. So it's not that you can't rehydrate kiln dried wood, it's just you can't get it to the point where it was before, which is, not a big deal. So what I would suggest is, if you do have kiln dried wood and it's your resource, if you want to do what I did, I would suggest, again, cutting it into the usable pieces that you normally would for your small smoker. That way, once you hydrate it, it's going to be less wood that the water has to get through. You'll get more water in the core, and I would do it maybe 3 or 4 days before you cook. That way you'll have plenty of moisture in the wood. It'll get a chance to dry off the surface, so it's not slimy or all that kind of stuff, and it'll burn better. But I will tell you one thing, like I said, when I smoked the brisket last week, I got a phenomenal smoke flavor throughout both briskets, so it does work. I'm glad I took this on. So I mean, if I have to, I can still use the kiln dried. I am planning on getting some oak. I found a decent price in my area, so I'm going to get about a half a cord for maybe, plus delivery charge, $200, which is probably more than most other places still, but I live in the New York metropolitan area and everything is expensive here. So, but eventually I'm going to get that cord. But for now, I'm going to do okay with this wood because it is still hydrated. If I, tomorrow it'll still be moist enough that I'll get a decent smoke out of it for tomorrow's cook. So, again, salty comment. I proved you wrong, Jeremy. You didn't want to take this on. You told your students that it couldn't be done. Well, it can be done. It's just not permanent. But if you do it a couple of days before you cook, you'll be just fine. So, that being said, let's move on to, well, I'll be back again tomorrow. We're going to be on Memorial Day doing a cook of, I'm just going to do a rack of ribs. I wanted to do something because I didn't want to go the whole weekend without smoking, and plus, the fact that I lost my footage on the brisket. I wanted to fill up this video with some cooking. So, pardon me. We will see you in the morning when we get things started. Hey guys, okay, Sunday afternoon. It is Memorial Day, so in honor of our wounded dead, let's have a moment of silence. Thank you guys for that. Okay, so I have some charcoals going, some wood is in there. I'm trying to heat up the pit. Once it gets up to temp, we'll throw on the spare ribs, so be right back. Okay, she's running around 250 by the stack, as you can see here. And over here, just a little bit by the firebox, just a bit above. Last week they were dead uneven. I think it will once the grill gets up to proper temper, holds on to the heat. So let's get the ribs on. And here they are, St. Louis style ribs. I got these from Aldi. They were $2.99 a pound. It's hard to pass those up when you spot them in there. It's not too often that you see them. And of course they're all seasoned and trimmed. And here's my little skirt piece over there. Nothing gets wasted, so that's going to get cooked. So let's get them on the grill. All right. Okay. I left the top grate on because I'm not really doing a whole lot besides. On they go. Close her up. Okay, so we'll be back again in 2 hours to check on their condition. We'll show you how the thermometers are reading both sides, then too, see if she needs a spritz, all of that stuff. So, see you in 2. Okay, 3 hours has gone by, so let us check. See how they're doing. Looking super barky. Still a little tough. Looks like there's a little bit of bone pulled back there. Let's give it a little test. Yeah, it's maybe another hour, and then we'll wrap them. This piece is doing. What's this one doing up here? Swan 64. I might just throw that into some foil right now, just for the hell of it. Alright guys, we'll see you back in another hour when I decide whether I'm going to wrap them or not. Okay, it's been 3 hours now. We're going to check on this rack of ribs, see how they're doing, see if it's time to wrap yet. Okay. Looking pretty good. They got a little bit of give to them. Let's probe them to see how they're doing. By the way, this is my my new Thermopan 1 that I won from a contest on Jeremy Yoder's Patreon page. Got honorable mention for my review of this particular smoker. I absolutely love it. My old one was getting pretty beat up, so now I have it. No matter which way I turn it, it's going to give me the right temp. Backlight will go on if it's too dark. It also, if I place it down, it'll go into sleep mode. As soon as you pick it up, it's movement sensitive. It'll go right back on again. It's pretty good. So let's check out how we're doing here. It's actually, I wouldn't say it's butter, but I think if I can get past the ribs here. Yeah, I think we could wrap it. Would love to have a little bit more pullback on there, but it is starting. Okay, let me prep this wrap here so I don't spend too much time on the camera. I'll be right back. Okay, I got the foil ready. Let's pull her out. I'm gonna do it. Let's see if I have enough to do it pocket style. Move it just a wee bit more down. Yeah, I don't think enough. Let's keep that up so we don't. Okay, so I have some bacon fat. We make a lot of bacon over Jersey Mike, so at the end of the day, there's a lot of bacon fat left over, so I take advantage. So we're just gonna pour it on top. Let that get all juicy and everything inside. Alright, let's fold this puppy over. Roll up the sides. And then this side. And roll up that side. Alright, I'm going to pull that off. We'll check this little piece. A little snack for myself. Down here for a sec. Alright, I know people will cringe if I talk about the 3-2-1 method. People hate that. So I'm just been kind of winging it. I went 3 hours. We're going to do this for an hour and then we'll check it. If it's tender and it's ready to go, then we'll sauce her up, get that sauce to set, and then we're done. You know, but you know, we'll do the testing method instead of the timing method, so guys don't hate me in the comments. Alright, so we'll see you in about an hour. Alright guys, it's been another hour. We're gonna test the ribs, see how they are, take a look at them, see how they're doing. I kicked up the heat a bit. I tried to keep it up around 300. Pull this out here. Let's give you a bit better view. Nice and easy to spill the juices. Not this way too good. Alright, let's give it a adjust the cam again a little bit here. Try not to hit the bones. Yeah, they seem okay. Oops. You know what? They're probably ready. I don't see a lot of pullback on these. Just some. Okay, so we do have some pullback. Alright, I guess we're going to sauce these puppies up now, so shouldn't take too long. Should we do it up top? I think we'll do it up top. A little more heat up, it'll keep the foil so we bring them inside. Okay, I'm gonna get ready to put sauce on them, so just give me a minute here and I'll be right back. Okay, so you all know I'm a big fan of Aldi's. I'm sure I've mentioned it in plenty of my videos and whatnot, but they had this Memphis style barbecue sauce. I figured that would be great for ribs. They also have, pull this one up, plan to try this on my burnt ends. We have a Texas style barbecue sauce. I've had this. This is pretty decent as well. I'm going to save that for the burnt ends for later on. Right now we're just going to give this a little bit of a slather and then we're going to brush it on. Okay. Alright. I'll brush on that before it gets out of control here. A little Picasso job here. It's like a bark on these ribs, huh? And then you can see the chunky bits that I like in my rub. I'm going to mention too, I forgot to mention this before, I mentioned earlier in the video that I was going to be doing other things. I was going to do a pork roast and some turkey legs along with the ribs, but I kind of fell through, so in case you were wondering. Alright, we'll be back maybe about half an hour to check, see if this is all set, and then they're going to come off. Talk to you in a bit. Okay guys, 30 minutes gone by. We're going to test and see if this sauce is set, and if it is, we're going to pull them over. It looks pretty good to me. They look mighty tasty. Alright, let's get them over to the table, cut them up, and see what we got. Okay gang, here they are. Let's give a slicing to those puppies. See if I can find a bone here and cut in between. There we go. Here. Beautiful smoke ring. Look nice and juicy. And now the bite. Very good. The sauce is magnificent. Say another good job. Well, that's it for another video, guys, and I apologize for not being able to get out the first one, but you know, when you experiment and you try something, sometimes you fail. So just to recap, remember you guys can rehydrate kiln dried wood. And all that stuff with Jeremy, that's all tongue-in-cheek, just a little joking, a little ribbing. So, just so you know. I want to thank everybody who's a subscriber for sticking with me this long. We'll try to make it worth your while to be subscribed and get another good year out of this barbecue season. And as always, and happy Memorial Day. And as always, keep on smoking.